night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Good evening and welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, the backup channel. We're over here in the bunker after a barrage of hits on the main channel due to Karens. But no great shakes. We can still get that message out. Tonight we're going to talk about hidden history. Now, there's an interesting thing. We're often told that in order to know where we're at, we need to know what our past is, and find out where we're going from where our past is. I got somebody backstage. I'll bring them up in just a moment. But what if where you've been is a complete lie? What if where you are is a complete lie? That way, a spun narrative, a concocted history could be easily used to guide a future by making people think that the results of a fictitious event, or whatever you write them down to be, will steer them in a direction or dissuade them from going in a certain direction. So this is some of the importance. We look back and we find that there are too many anomalies within our historical timeline that just don't make any sense. From the advent of the Gregorian calendar, the addition of 700 to 1,000 years into our timeline, events in the past that seem to be very reminiscent of what we find in Revelations, that perhaps we are in that short season that's referred to in Revelations. We talked about that over on Burn the Corporate Fiction just a few moments ago. As some of the thing we keep talking about, there's a reset in Klaus Schwab, and you will own nothing, and you will eat the cricket paste, and you will like it, you Schweinhund. And if you do not like it, we have ways to make you like it. Perhaps you need some educational training of some sort or another. Pet a little kitty, pet a little. The fucking sickos are running this world, and I think they always have, and they keep doing it over and over and reset it. As soon as the people start to get wise, they try to reset it again. I'm going to bring up, we got Burn the Corporate Fiction. He is in the back here. I'm going to bring him up. How you doing tonight? Yeah.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing finer than frog hair split three ways.
As if we weren't just on air together just a minute ago, but yeah.
I know, right?
Right.
Well, we had to come all the way over here.
I know. It was a trip.
You see, it was.
Yeah. I need some gas money. No, but I'm surprised Klaus Schwab doesn't have a little cat. Like, he is this, like, literally a Bond villain, complete with everything except for the fucking cat. Yeah, he is, literally.
$1 million.
Yeah, it wasn't his daddy like one of Hitler's top dudes too, or something? Like, It's super straight up out of the Third Reich.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And it's just that same Bond style evil scientist shit. And they know that people are getting wise to it because let's face it, they do this shit like every year anyways, with Bilderberg and all that.
Davos.
So, yeah, this Davos, that's what I'm saying, that they've deployed over 5,000 troops to guard the asshats at Davos.
The simple truth is, in this, I think is the case wholeheartedly, is they don't care if you know what they're doing anymore. They do not, because it's so far progressed that it's unstoppable at this point. And they don't give a shit. Talk about it all you want. They feel like there's no way that people are going to do anything about it. Yeah, I hope that he's wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that people, when push comes to shove and things start to hit the fan, shit starts to hit the fan, I hope people do stand up and say, fuck that. But we'll see.
There, pin that up there. There you go. It did. I did. Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is, there's a reason they want people to be in a state of panic and fear about it. It's obvious that it's not a popular agenda. When somebody tells you, you're not going to own anything, you're going to like it, and you're going to eat crickets for dinner because we can't have meat. And you see that there's a purposeful effort to destroy the supply line, to destroy the food supply, to cause an artificial shortage in the supply line in order to force you along their little tracks. It's like you're saying, they're not even trying to hide it. It's like their time is short. And are they going to do it again? Have they done it before? I mean, was the period between, say, like early 1800s up to the early 1900s, was that what was really going on there? I mean, we've got evidence of some kind of a mud flood. We've got even the Cowboys and Indians is bullshit story, man.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. So how can we go, those that are ignorant of their past are destined to repeat it? Well, motherfucker, that we didn't even have that past. So what are we working off of?
Here's the thing, though. Now, this is where I believe it gets into that implied consent thing. We have long now, for a better part of a decade, had the ability to look into that information for ourselves. You and I have. How many people have, though? You've got freaking Prometheus right here, right? That's what you have. You've got fucking Prometheus. Anything that mankind has ever recorded and put on the internet, which is most everything that's been recorded, you have access to it. But people just want to Twitter and Instagram and fucking, you know what I mean, all whatever else everybody does nowadays, Facebook. We can look into this history. It's funny you bring that up about the Cowboys and Indians. I came across a reel on Facebook, speaking of Facebook, right? When I go on Facebook, and I'm sure it's the same with you, I'm a part of a bunch of educational research groups. That's pretty much the only reason I go on Facebook, is to see what other people have found in research and then look at it myself. But there was actually black slave owners. Now that aligns straight up with the book I'm reading called 0% by Duval Day. And he talks about how we were actually a dominion of Morocco, and that at the same time that the supposed African slave trade was going on here, there was a Barbary slave trade going on where they were enslaving people of every color, every race, and that there was actually already blacks over the Moors were actually native to North America, in this area.
Well, wasn't Lincoln's speech translated from Arabic?
Yeah, it's translated from Arabic. And there's a letter from George Washington to the Sultan Sidi Muhammad, or whatever his name was. And but yeah, so there's Moors, and there was actually black slave owners. So it's almost like the entirety of everything, the whole social construct that we've been brought up in, where it's the racial division and everything has all been engineered. It's a complete, what is history? We don't know. There's no way of knowing. The only thing I know for sure is what I've seen with my own two eyes and things that make sense. Everything else is like, you can only speculate.
Well, I know I've seen a lot of people are kind of like on the same page. I started thinking this, and then I saw that there was other people had started thinking it, and it's almost like it's in the air, like in the aether. And there's some of us that are on this fucking wavelength, and we just all of a sudden I find everybody's talking about this, and I was just thinking about it. This is crazy, you know. Excuse me. And one of the big things too is this idea of Armageddon, the apocalypse and Armageddon having already taken place. And that this being that short season where the devil is loose.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you look at, they say that the fall, we know our time was fucked when Pope Gregory fucked it up. There was a couple more fucked it up before that. But you kind of like take a look at what this timeline was about. They say that the fall of the Roman Empire took 100 years. But I look at these ruins, and they're not like places that just fell into disrepair. This shit looks like it was straight up blowed up. Like damaged hard. We've got evidence of buildings and brick being melted. Like almost some kind of a plasma event. And then all of a sudden, it's like nothing happened, right? Went into the Dark Ages. And part of what plunged them into that is right out of Revelations as well. We had, I think it was 542. Let me see if I can find the year of it.
And you say when Rome fell, that's another thing. I don't think Rome ever fell. I think it just moved west.
There it is. Worst year in history. Let me see.
Yeah, I agree with you, Renee, that the
536 AD. This is right after, supposedly, these are the timelines they give us, right? I think when they refer to the fall of the Roman Empire, I think they refer to whatever cataclysm took everything down. Because, I mean, you look at all the things that were contemporary at the time. You got Luxor, buried under 40 feet of sand. You got places in South America that look like they were just straight up fucking blown apart. And I'm going, wait a second here. So you go to 536 AD, and there was like 3 volcanoes going off around the world, blocked out the sun, caused all kinds of plague, pestilence, disease, starvation, and it was a rough time. And then all of a sudden, you know, when we're in the Dark Ages, nothing fucking happened for 1,000 years. And then all of a sudden, we're into the Renaissance, and they're building these architecture that's, I mean, magnificent. Look at some of this shit.
No, I do find that interesting that just nothing happened for 1,000 years. The Dark Ages, just everybody went off grid for a whole 1,000 years. Or is it more likely that 1,000 years is never a thing? That seems more likely to me.
Let me see. I got some.
A resonance chamber.
I mean, look at this shit.
That's what those they filled them in with stained glass, but those are resonance chambers. Those are big ass fucking. That's for sound. That's for frequency. That's for vibrational healing.
Yeah, man. So to be inspired, if you were in the spire.
Right. Well, spire is from spirit. Yeah. So that's why they call it spire.
I mean, look at that. That's in Barcelona, Spain. That's amazing. Magnificent.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's absolutely. That's incredible. Yes.
I mean, it's almost, if you look real close at a computer motherboard, it's got a whole bunch of little shit like this on it.
That would take contractors today a very long time to build. Yeah. If they could even replicate that.
There's your cavity resonance. There's your magnetron. Cavity magnetron right there. This is similar to what takes a regular light beam and turns it into a laser beam. That
Right.
same type of thing. This same type of thing is inside of a speaker. That glass is not supposed to be there. That lead and glass is there insulating that thing from its true purpose.
Yep, I agree. So it makes perfect sense when you really understand that sound and frequency is that's the beat.
Look at that shit.
Yeah, that's
that
pretty
is right there. It's frozen music. Now that's the kind of shit right there you see that's in real life, but that's like what it's like in a DMT trip.
Right on.
I'm not kidding you, man. It's wild.
Oh, I believe it.
I mean, you see some of this shit, and always with the domes with a noble metal involved.
Renee Bernays asked you if you've seen photos of El Paso High School. Would you pull some up to show?
Oh yeah, I'll pull those up after I get through all these here. Look at this thing, 1854. This is before mass-produced panes of glass.
Interesting. That is interesting, isn't it?
Then guess what they done? They took it down and they moved it, supposedly. Took it down and moved it, and then guess what happened to it? It caught fire. It caught fire. A glass and steel building caught fire.
That makes sense. Sort of. It makes sense in the same way the Twin Towers came down by 2 airplanes. All 3 of them.
Look at this. Just amazing, some of this shit. Look at that. That is totally for amplification.
Yeah.
Inside that dome. And then if you go in and you look at each one of these things right here, those are all little cavity resonators. They look like little flowers. Like, who's gonna, oh, that's to decorate it. Like somebody's gonna climb up there and look at those little fucking flowers.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right. They're blaming it on the lavishness of the wealthy, right? That's what they're.
So yeah, there's some interesting shit.
Look at that. That's fucking cool. Yeah. I mean, you look at some of those sculptures that fucking are attributed to the Renaissance artists, and those things don't even look look real. They're lifelike, out of stone. That's amazing. You know,
look like they're 3D printed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get even the veins in the hands and everything. Statues of people look so like how in the fuck did he do that with a hammer and chisel, right?
Now, is that the Colosseum or is that a speaker?
Interesting.
You know, don't that look like just would be up on the back deck of your car, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it does.
That's set up for that.
It could have been simultaneous. It could have been to channel and harness all that death, rage, hate energy,
or all the joy and cheering from something we don't know. We're only told what happened in those arenas, and it doesn't even really look at. It doesn't even look like.
Hey, but gladiators are cool, so I'm going to do what everybody else does and just choose to believe they existed.
I mean, see, look, what do they got going on here? I guess they had a floor across here or something. I don't know. I don't think it was what they tell us it was for. I really don't.
Sure be pretty cool if it was, though.
Look at that, man. Just fucking amazing. I got to look at this library.
Yeah, there's some crazy ass fucking.
Now, see, the thing is, too, that's so pleasing to the eye. Doesn't that look like a place you'd like to go and be at?
Yeah, you just don't see that anymore, anywhere. It's all this communist, very plain, straight line architecture.
Oh, yeah. Look at this is in the Palace of Versailles. All that. And they're in a single fucking bathroom in that place.
Is that where they did the treaty to fuck the Germans over?
Yep.
a loaf of bread went from like 200 marks to like 2 million.
Oh, quickly too. Yeah, look at that. Now see, that just ought to tell people something. And what's this up here where there's always this little thing? Like there's something supposed to be in there. I mean, that's not there for somebody to climb up in and look around or nothing.
It's probably a bell or something up in there. I was reading in Russia, there's like a graveyard of bells from where they went through and fucking. I guess there were bells all over the city, and it was like they would emit some kind of healing frequency according to the legends around it or whatever. But there is a big ass graveyard filled with bells. Where did they come from? What were they for? They just went through and started wholesale taking them all down. That's cool looking.
I don't even know where that's at. I just found that somewhere.
That's like that fucking give me a headache after a minute.
Imagine going in there. Look at that fucking shit.
Imagine going into that last room on some acid or something when you already got the fractal stuff going. Right? Yeah. Fuck you up.
That one with the colors. Look at that there. That's look what's depicted here.
Yep.
Isn't that interesting?
That whole scene is interesting.
Let's see if we can get a little more out of it.
Yeah, who is that up at the top? It's like angels.
Ooh, oh man, that's a crazy looking thing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It makes your mind go. There you go. Now there's where I'd like to go into.
That looks like a casino.
It does, don't it?
Yes, it does. Or like a knockoff Egyptian.
Dude, that's what the DMT world is like, a fucking casino circus. It seems like in there. It's just like that, But it's really crazy. Anyway,
it's like that and like a circus.
Yeah, but if you can imagine that shit's changing and shit, the architecture keeps changing and shit.
I can, because I believe that you go to the astral plane when you're on that shit. From where you describe it and stuff, it's the place of deception. Like you just said, it's always changing because it's basically like the realm of thought forms and lower spirits and stuff.
When I went in there, it was crazy because I took charge. And I was like, stop fucking distracting me. And I kept like, fuck you, I'm in charge here. And then I'd be over here going, no, fuck you. And it was like these entities in there were perplexed why I wasn't being influenced by them. Like why they couldn't distract me, why they couldn't, dazzle me with their little tricks and shit. And I was like, I don't fucking care. I'm not here for that. And then I heard them. Then their next tactic, I look at it as a tactic. It was like they were hiding around behind shit, like looking at me, but they were gossiping with one another and mocking me. And I heard them say things like they were going, sovereign soul, he thinks he talks to people and shit. And he's like, he talked to Christos. And it's like all this fucking crazy shit. And I was like, no, shut the fuck up. I'm in charge here.
Who's Christos?
He's this dude that, it's crazy. He's a guy that me and him were had a live together the other night. You'll have to go check it out. Yeah. He was there. He was there.
Who's that just joined on here? It's called Chris.
That's him right there.
Yeah, nice.
Speak of the fucking devil.
Oh shit, that was loud. Oh shit.
What's up, Chris?
Are you guys talking about the DMT realms right now? I saw some of the architecture.
Man. Yeah, I said this is kind of like what it. Like
yeah,
that.
some of the initial realms, some of the initial layers are definitely can be deceiving and distracting. That's for sure.
Yeah, those are like the lower astral realms when they start talking about the planes of existence, which usually exist in 7 layers each. And 7 layers of 7 planes. But yeah, that's it's interesting. You said they were saying something like hackable, like you're hackable, which I found interesting.
Yeah. Well, it was like they were like, he thinks he talks to people and shit. They were like trying to fucking goad me into fucking with him. And I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. I was like, no, fuck you. I'm in charge. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. So like the mental realm is capable of penetrating the low. Like the mental realm is technically like the lowest level of the astral realm. And a lot of those things that you guys are probably seeing in there are thought forms or elemental like energies. You know what I mean? And
Egregores.
Egregores, exactly. That's exactly the word. Yes, egregores.
Oh wait, what happened?
Egregores. Those are probably like if you encounter any like stronger, more potent beings that aren't like the little mischievous ones, those would probably be egregores, or they could all be egregores. But an egregore, for people who don't know what an egregore is it's essentially like when humans use faith energy towards some sort of idol worship or nature worship, they create a thought form, an egregore, with that faith energy that exists in the astral realm and is capable of acting and operating on their behalf. Like the old Renaissance magicians and stuff like that, they operated using egregores as a form of astral magic, basically create this. I know it sounds crazy, but when you really understand that everything's just electromagnetic vibrational frequencies, it's not too far-fetched to think that a collective of people could create a conscious thought form that feeds off of faith energy, so to speak. It's not really that far-fetched at all. But
I could see the Aether even when I opened my eyes, I could see the Aether, and it was like a fluid webbing that's around everything, but there were like these black threads that seemed to be infecting it.
Well, there would have to be.
I saw that too.
Manifestation requires duality. There has to be the spirit of being.
No, this doesn't belong there. It doesn't belong there.
Spirit of non-being.
This shit doesn't belong there. It's like it's new.
It's new? Well, that's fucking weird.
Artificial.
Yeah, completely artificial.
Yeah, so
well, maybe go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say real quick. I saw, especially the second time I went in that night. What I saw initially was, well, it seemed like, and this could be unrelated to the actual ether or like grid that we're talking about, but I saw what looked like black cracks all over the place. But I think that was more of a internal, personal thing I was experiencing. But outside of that, I was seeing like what I thought was like black spiders at first, but it was like little. It was like dirt. It was like these black nodes were all over the place, like scattered throughout this like ether that was around. And I don't know if that's related at all to the ether, or not the ether, but the grid we were talking about, the red, like almost like red lasers, a red holographic grid that I saw the first time I went in. Like it's the first thing I saw, which was like an artificial, unnatural grid, which is being overlaid on the natural, organic grid itself. And it's like I wasn't even seeing the actual organic grid at the time. I think I was seeing more of this like artificial, non-native electromagnetic frequency grid that was like depicted as red. And I also was seeing like black nodes that were scattered throughout it at times. Yeah. Hey, real quick, I'll be back, guys. I'm really interested in this, but I was on another stream. I'm going to bid them farewell. I'm actually going to suggest they come over here when they're done as well.
Right on, man.
Right on.
See you in a few, Christos.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks for popping on.
Yeah, man. It's wild. I mentioned his name and he pops on.
It
was like
wild.
the other night. I was sitting there. I was like, man, I hope Christos finds my backup and knows I'm on. And it was like, boom, he comes down there. I was like, holy shit. And then just now, same thing.
Follow me on this, and might sound crazy to the viewers, but you might see what I'm saying. So imagine this artificial intelligence could possibly be that black net, right? Say that they did somehow get it to achieve sentience. The astral realm is created by our thought, like it's the thought form realm, essentially. You know what I mean? The thought energy realm is the astral realm. And what if this thing achieves some kind of sentience to where it actually has a consciousness that is now infecting that realm with its energy, right? And beyond that, imagine with that certain procedure that everybody, that a lot of people have underwent recently, right? That have a certain black substance attributed to it, so to speak, right? What if whatever that thing, what if it's changing people into like hybrids that's affecting the thought form energy?
I wondered in that thing, like what Christos was talking, that integration into that fucking Aether, into that net. I think that's part of it, man. I really do. I think that has a lot to do with it.
What I was just saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with that.
Yeah, with that, yeah, okay,
procedure.
yeah.
I really do, and based down to the frequency idea. But this thing about like a frequent resets, and let's face it, I think the last one wasn't really that long ago. Historically speaking,
I could see that, yeah.
And I think, like, I've suspected that the technology for this, like, we were like spoon-fed little bits of shit that they allowed us to have.
Well, they created like a mythology for us. They created like our whole mythological canon for this country. We have our own canon with our pantheon. And
well, I mean, just beyond that, I think it's sort of like there's been a group that's highly advanced, that's had this technology to where, they can fuck with frequencies and create earthquakes, create what would seem to be natural disasters, and along with a depopulation type agenda. Because I'm seeing some parallels. I mean, we're seeing, remember the incubator babies of the World's Fairs and shit in the 1800s. And now what are they talking about here now is these artificial wombs and shit.
Listen, there's not very often that the things that I research deeply unsettle me, It's like my wife thinks that there's something wrong with me because I don't get unsettled by stuff. I'm serious. She does. She's like, you're not right. There's something wrong with you because shit is horrifying. Well, that incubator baby thing, that's horrifying to me. Like the concept of being like generated. It literally opens doors to things like, there's only one other thing that freaked me out like that is when I was watching an episode of Black Mirror, where in the future everybody has to ride like in a bike, like one of those exercise bikes, to create energy because of global warming and shit, right? And that's their job. And while they're on their bike, they earn credits, right? And then at the end of the day, they go back to their little cube that's made of screens, and it's like just big enough to hold a bed, and like all the walls are screens. And it's like inescapable programming. And the commercials are interactive ads where he can spend some of the credits that he's generated during the day. And the most popular show, and this has always stuck with me, and every time my wife watches it, I tell her, I was like, you're watching the lottery again, huh? She says, like X Factor and stuff is like an X Factor type show, right? Is the show everybody watches. And it's where all these people that are doomed to this life of servitude for digital credits, right? For staying green or whatever. They can go on the show for a chance to not be a slave anymore, right? By like becoming a television star or a fucking singer or something, right? So they get this opportunity to use their talent to get out of serfdom. And it's like, and everybody watches the show, right? Well, so the main character guy of this episode, he falls in love with this girl, and he uses all the credits he saved up to pay for her ticket to go on the show. And she goes on there and she sings, you know what I mean? And she's like a really good singer. And the judge, he's kind of meant to be like Simon Cowell. He's sitting there and he's like, yeah, that was really good, but we don't need a singer this year. How'd you like to be in movies? Right. And he gives her an adult film position. That's the offer that she gets, is to be a porn star. Right. And remember, the dude that fell in love with her paid for her to get on that talent show.
The ultimate cuckold.
And of course, because she'd much rather have a comfortable life than a life of servitude, she agrees to it. So now the dude is broke. He's stuck in his cubicle made of television screens. and he's watching ads of his girlfriend to watch porn of her in the porn. You know what I mean? And he has no credits to skip the ads in this thing. You have to use credits. This is what's scary, how realistic. To skip a commercial, it costs you money. Think about it. That's what they want to do with this digital currency thing. That's what's so scary about it, right? And anyways, at the end of the episode, this is where it gets deep, right? He goes, gets on stage with this dance routine, pulls out a knife and puts it to his throat, right? And just bashes the system. I mean, of all the things I've ever seen on television, this was one of the greatest like statements against the system I've ever seen on television. You guys should watch. It's like the first episode of Black Mirror. And he gets done like telling them how they're all just a bunch of peasant sheep distracted and they're slaves to the system and all this shit. And he's got the knife up to his throat. The judge is sitting there trying to figure out how to do damage control. And guess what he does? He starts clapping. It's like, bravo. Like it was all a demonstration, a show. And the episode,
wow.
Yeah. And the episode ends with the guy holding a knife to his throat, screaming about the system. And then he goes, until next episode, and sets the knife down. And he's actually on the television screen. He's sold out. And it's like the Alex Joneses and everybody. I mean, this shit was such a creepy parallel. Yeah. Such a creepy parallel to the literal. I stopped watching that. I smoked it like some good ass weed. And I stopped watching it halfway through because I got too freaked out. I had to watch the rest of the episode later. I was like, that's freaky, bro. I was like, that is literally what they want for us. And I know it. I could feel it in my spirit. I'm like, that is what they want for us. That right there. That is the future. I know. Imagine being in your room of little interactive fucking screens, all making one big picture, and you got to pay to skip commercials. I can see that. Like if they digitalize currency, you probably will have to pay to skip ads. It'll be like 50 cents to skip this ad. You know what I mean? Everything.
Well, they already do it with YouTube. Okay.
With a subscription, yeah.
Yeah, if you buy a subscription to YouTube, you don't have to put up with those fucking ads that you have to wait to skip that come in at the most inopportune times, you know?
So I'll tell you, I got this buddy, right, that I met a while ago through when I worked at the supplement place, right? And he came in, he wanted advice on working out, and we ended up becoming friends. This guy's ultra wealthy, right? I'm talking about he was like repaying a $48 million debt and he was still wealthy, right? Because one of his businesses got hit during COVID. And he has like one of his friends he went to school with was a guy who invented the fucking GPS and shit, right? So I'm talking about like serious guy. And I ended up becoming friends with him through giving him like exercise advice and shit and supplement advice. And he told me that in the future, and he says, because he was like works in the field of science doing shit with plastics and stuff, and he knows a lot of sciencey shit. And he told me in the future, in the very near future, we're not going to have to worry about having phones. We will be our phones. Our phones will be inside of us.
Yeah.
When you go to the store, you will be getting an upgrade of your like operating system, and not he didn't use those terms, but he said basically you're the phone. Like all the things your phone can do, that's going to be embedded in you. He said you won't work at this store. He said they'll save on labor costs because they'll be able to have just you run 6 stores at the same time from home. This is what he's telling me. I'm telling you. It's so like he said you could be running stores in different countries, he told me, right? You're going to be running stores in different countries even, all from home, digitally. And like basically all the things your phone does is going to be in you. And that is the literal future that they have planned for us. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm not real tickled about that kind of shit, man, at all.
Listen, the guy I'm talking about, he's a really good dude though. So it's nothing personal against him. I'm not going to say his name or anything out of respect for him, but he's so excited about this shit. And I'm like, bro, why does this excite you? This has such a potential to go bad. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, he has complete faith in the way everything works. And there's
a reason every fucking movie that the robot goes bad, the AI turns wanting to wipe out fucking people because we're evil and shit. It's always turns out like that. The Terminator, it don't matter. iRobot, it always turns out that the robot's a bad fucking idea, man. And you start wanting to integrate yourself with a fucking robot, who's actually got control of that bullshit, see? You got old Elon Musk wanting to put Atari chips and shit up in people's heads. What the fuck is going on with people is going, hey, I wish I was like a remote control to a TV set. Imagine being able to blink your eyes and
it's not even like
channel.
a conspiracy anymore, because he openly talks about this shit. Like, he's already created the procedure to do it, and then he talks about how like we've created Skynet and we have to do it, otherwise we're gonna get taken over by this thing we created. Like,
you know what I think? I think they're gonna do this shit again. And very, very soon. I mean, there's been an uptick in seismic activity worldwide. And I'm talking about some big fucking quakes, man. 6 and 7 magnitude range. They've been happening all over the world. We got California's going through some shit right now. Articudo in the chat right there, he lives out there. And they're going through some shit with the flooding. There's predicted, Dutch Sense has predicted a huge, at least about a 7 happening out there sometime very soon. And that's going to be some bad shit to go along with all the flooding. First, they didn't get all this water for years and years and years. Drought. And all of a sudden, everything's fucking flooding. You know, I mean, it's almost like these natural type disasters are happening, but they're just kind of like not all one great big thing, just a series of things happening all over the place. Fires, that kind of shit. And maybe that's how the last reset took place. Maybe it took over a period of time and there was a depopulation that took place. We disguised it as the Napoleonic Wars or whatever else, that it was a destruction of old world Europe. There's that theory. And then, of course, the 1,000-year millennial reign having already occurred, you know? And then the shaman tell us that this has happened several times over and over and over and over. But what I want to know is who the fuck is doing it?
Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, we know who the minions are. We know who the minions are, but who's the fucking top dog pulling the fucking strings? It's almost like an otherworldly intelligence. And like you said, an AI. Has CERN tapped through to that world? And I don't know, man. Where are we setting at with this shit? You know?
I mean, they're so vague about what they even are doing over there. They've got this one explanation of what they're doing. But
well, they're smashing little particles together, Ryan. That's all. It's so innocent. They're just, you know.
Yeah, but are they? Is that what they're actually doing? How do you know?
No, I don't think they are, because I don't think there are little particles to be smashing together. They got you believing that shit, you know, or the general public.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They got everybody this whole little idea of a solar system atom, you know, and we're going to take this one and we're going to smash it into another one at a super speed. What the fuck are you talking about? That ain't what you're doing at all. How come what you're doing creates an electromagnetic field that blows the charts up, man? What's the fucking deal going on there? What are you really doing? And where's the real one at? Because I think the CERN is a distraction.
What if they hijack the frequency of the plane?
I think they have. There's been fluctuations in the Schumann resonance, and that's our grounding frequency. At the same time as you got they're not even grounded to the earth anyways. Everybody's wearing fucking rubber shit on their feet at all times. They're completely disconnected, walking around in a concrete jungle where there's very little nature, trying to stab each other in the back to get $1 more than the last guy. We're not connected, man. So what are they doing? And they're wrapping tinfoil around our Wi-Fi. The fluoride goes in there and calcifies your pineal gland. That's like your Wi-Fi to your higher self. So basically, that's what the metaphor of the zombie apocalypse actually is. They've got people cut off and stuck in the ego and no concept of a higher self.
Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I got to check on my daughter real quick.
What do you think on that, Christos? I like to say your name that way. Christos. I can't hardly hear you, bro.
What about now?
It's a little better. It's kind of muffled.
That's weird.
What, did you change devices on me?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, hold on.
There are weapons all around us. Watch the storms. They use weapons to create tornadoes. Yes, and it destroys the food supply. And that which they haven't destroyed through weather manipulation. We've coincidentally had all these food processing plants catch fire, airplanes crashing into them, what have you. Lake Tahoe got more snow than in 50 years. Right. I mean, Lake Mead drying up.
Well, they engineer the weather, most definitely.
Yeah.
They've admitted to it. I mean, you can look up the patents, first of all. Like, that's such, like, so when I think I was saying this on my channel earlier, it's like, there's people who've been in the truth community for a long time. Like, I started waking up in 2012. That's when I found out about the Federal Reserve System, and then I just been on it. Like, I can't even help myself anymore. With, like, I'm always researching stuff in my spare time, and things like weather manipulation, or like the silent weapons document I was going over and stuff like that. It's like basic, like 101. You know what I mean? And then when this thing happened with everything shutting down and all that, it woke a lot of people up. I think it did a lot to really wake a lot of people up, because people started going, wait a minute, hold on. When was the last time every country on earth acted in concert about anything? Right? Because it's just common sense.
Well, yeah, it was like that they all agree on an altitude limit for private aircraft. They all agree that we can't go to the South Pole.
Right.
They all agree that we can't go to the North Pole. Even if they're fighting, even at the wartime and shit, that's paramount. You're not allowed to do that. So they all agree that this last epidemic thing, they all had the exact same solution to it. Everything.
The same social distancing guidelines.
Yep, exactly. Isn't it funny how all those stickers were just right there, ready, smack dab, right away?
Well, the funny thing is that number is arbitrary. That number is inconsequential. I believe it only has symbolic significance. It has no, like, actual science or data.
I think so. I think absolutely. So you have to look at what goes on. Your average radius of your magnetic field of your heart, your electromagnetic field of your heart, has a 6-foot toroidal diameter. Okay, that means that its radius is 3 foot. If I'm within 6 feet of you, we're communicating on a level that we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good thing nobody really listened to that fucking shit, right?
Well, that's how moods are infectious, the whole thing. And the more interaction there is, of course, then the more that connection resonates. And so that was a way of keeping isolation. Another way was through the micro expressions that are exhibited in your face. You communicate through micro expressions, and you don't really realize it.
When we talk about that aspect of it, you can go on.
Yeah, I mean, so it was definitely an isolation thing, and also it was kind of like
it was emasculation, humiliation, dominance,
ritualistic shame muzzle, if you will.
Right. So all of the above. Right. The things it did psychologically, specifically, like, even though you don't know, it's just like Catholic Church. Even though you're not dirty, you don't think you're dirty, you are. You could be asymptomatic. It's just like, even though you think you're not a sinner, you really are. It's the same fucking thing. It's exactly the same, man.
You might not think you're a sinner, but you really are. You may not think you have that, but you really do because you're asymptomatic. You know what I'm saying? It's exactly the same psychology involved with it. You're dirty anyways. You know, wear your muzzle.
No, yeah, and just the cycle, yeah, the just the entire magnitude of that situation. But my point is like that did a lot to wake people up, and
I would hope.
no, it really, I mean, it really did. Like my cousin,
Isn't
he
that
used to always,
interesting how this, this didn't even come out as a symbol of Islam until the 50s.
interesting.
That combined with a cross, what is it? What is that symbol? If you combine that
And a
crescent
circle and
moon,
a cross, it's Mercury.
it's Mercury, exactly, which I think is a key component to these energy devices, man. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
See, there it is again.
No, it did. My cousin, he called me, and he told me, because he used to think he was like, dude, you're crazy, man. He's like, there's no way that there's a group of people trying to take over the world. And I'm like, yeah, dude, there really is a fucking group of people trying to take over the world. I was like, think about if like money wasn't an object to you anymore. Right?
Yeah.
What else do you got to chase? Like you have so much generational wealth that like you could spend $1 million every day and still not go broke. You know what I mean? And now what do you do? Well, obviously, money is only acquired to acquire power. Like with people who hunger for large quantities of money, not always, but a lot of the times, those people are addicted to the power that money brings. It's not even the money itself. That's why they're actually very frugal. They don't hardly spend money because they view money as power. They don't want to give their power away. You see what I'm saying? So, of course there are. And so he called me though. Oh, I showed him a video of all the news stations talking about the same shit at the same time. And he looks at me. He still was like thinking I was crazy, but he looks at me and he goes, okay, that was fucking weird. And I was like, dude, like, what else can you say about that? Of course that was fucking weird. They're all saying the same exact shit. And then, anyways, he calls me right like a little while after that this stuff is going on, and he goes, cuz you were fucking right, man. I was like, what? He was like, you're right. I used to think you were fucking crazy, dude, but you're right. He was like, they're clearly trying to take over the world, right? This shit is fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? When that shit first happened, I looked at my buddy. Everybody was freaking out, like talking about, oh my God, are we going to be okay? I'm like, I looked at my buddy. I was like, dude, they're doing it. He was like, what? I was like, they're doing it right now. They're trying to take this shit over right now. That's why it's all over the news. Are you kidding me? And then I started putting the statistics into perspective for him. Because initially, all you had to do is take the statistics and put it in perspective. You're like, oh, there's 60 people that, are in this situation. You're like, out of how many? Fucking 1 million? Because that's a very small percentage of people. You know what I mean? Like, how many people are we talking about here? And the statistics they were coming up with reflected like less than 1% of the total population was being affected by this thing that they were, shutting everything down for. And it's just common sense, man. They don't even hide it.
No, and they the stupidest fucking reasons to do it too. And then it's like, well, like I said, the St. Louis president of the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank said this is a planned shutdown of the American economy in the third quarter. That was in March. That was in March of 2020.
I live in St. Louis. Yep. That
crisis was so engineered.
Well, God, we better not even go into that, but what I'm saying is that event itself is also, I think, part of what's going on because I think it happened before. And this is the thing. Yes, I see this difference. You're talking about a bunch of horse and buggy fucking people, right? Let's just think about this. Horse and buggy fucking people built this shit in the mud.
Yeah, well, apparently
didn't bother building any roads or hardened roads to carry the material there. Apparently
they had electric cars.
Okay, so they built this shit. And then come up with just not too long, right there in the 1800s, they fucking incubator babies all of a sudden. We're still in horses and buggies and shit, but we can grow kids in incubators. What the fuck is that? So what I'm saying is like some of these technologies were like fed to us.
No,
given to us.
You can see that I think I seen a picture. I could be mistaken, but there was like an electric car in the late 1800s, man. There was like the first electric car. Like, it's not
prohibition of alcohol was because there was engines that ran on fucking grain alcohol, bro.
Well, yeah, that's why I know Rockefeller is behind that. Great documentary people should watch is James Corbett, How Big Oil Conquered the World. That's a phenomenal documentary. That shit's so chock full of just information that you can verify. And really, when you look like at an objective biography of John D. Rockefeller's life, he was brilliant, mastermind, but also ruthless person.
That's why I say I don't think there was something weird happening, and almost, my insides tell me, and I've often thought this, that Rothschild, what was their original name? Mayer, right? Before they changed it.
Bauer.
That's right. Okay, so I believe that they made a deal with the Shaitan. I believe the head dude, the same one Bob Dylan made a deal with. And this was why they went went immediately to their red hexagon, changed their name, Red Shield. And this is where things start getting really funky, because there again with the Battle of Waterloo, like you were talking about before, and him hedging stocks, knowing full well what had really occurred, but tricking everybody into selling their shit off so he could buy it up. There was a real, I think, an energetic change that took place, as well as a physical change. Like this building right here, I do not believe we built this. I believe that the repopulation found dead and repurposed it. We're told by caretaker adults what it was, how it was built, and shit like that, and it just got passed on. Those that wouldn't go along with the new normal after the last set of cataclysms or whatever took place were put into these asylums because they were insane. They're crazy in their mind. Who's going to listen to you about your fanciful shit that you're talking about, right?
I've heard this before. You're saying people that were awake in past eras during, like, before a reset, they were all put away in the crazy house?
Yeah, or even after it. They're like, okay, so here's going to be the new normal. And then there's people like me and Ryan and you are going, oh, bullshit, that is not the new normal. This is the way things were. This is the way things are. Oh, you're crazy. We're going to put you in this place. You're incarcerated. See what I'm saying? And then what do you got? You got all these kids. They're impressionable. They don't know shit from shit. And then the adults that are complicit in it can pass along this narrative. Because let's face it, we had a bunch of orphans, but apparently we also had a bunch of childless couples who were adopting these orphans around the world.
What that necessarily implies, though, to carry something like that out globally, or not, worldwide, however you want to say it, necessarily implies an organization and
look into the Odd Fellows, man.
Capability.
You find the Odd Fellows all over connected with these orphan trains and shit.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so it's like, what do? You got these schools and these orphanages and shit, and who's teaching them? Who's teaching them? The ones that aren't adopted, right? And you've got these childless couples around the U.S. There's ads in the paper saying, come on down to the train station and adopt you an orphan. It's like they were come one and get you a couple. Buy two get one free. I don't know. But there was almost like and separating them from long distances from where they were originally from too, almost to erase that memory of where they came from.
Did that happen when, at like the turn of the century?
Yeah, well, to in about the mid 1800s on up through the turn of the century.
Because right around the time of the signing of the Organic Act of 1871 that gave birth to the United States Corporation as it exists. Ultimately, now it's went through several other corporate transformations, but ultimately it's still the same. And around that time, the debt for the Revolutionary War was due, right? So that was also to the European banks. And they also, the sole purpose of passing or ratifying the 14th Amendment was to create that citizenship requirement that would allow them to secure more collateral for their loans, which has been the intention.
Well, here's an interesting aspect to it too. Why has about all mention of Tartaria all but scrubbed from all the history?
Well, look, what if
you really have to go back and look to find this shit, and you find out that it was very influential, that it was a worldwide empire that incorporated many parts of the world.
Say, look, what if the population of the states was massively decimated by the war, right? Think about how many people were probably alive at the time, how many people probably died during the Civil War in this country, and what the states must have looked like afterwards. Maybe they like repopulated the states, right?
Well, see, there's that thing. You got that expansion west story that they give us with the, what's the fucking deal with the where they'd have those land grabs where you
see the Indians. I already know that the Indians, a lot of the Indians that they claim that the confederations that we went to war against, or we ended up breaking our treaties with, these alliances of natives, were actually blacks. They were Moors.
Yeah. Well, see that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Aboriginals. Yeah, American Aboriginals. Yep.
Yeah. So that in itself is interesting. So what kind of society was really here when we came here?
Well, it looks, another interesting thing. This is the thing. You got to look. This is all these architecture that I've shown you, as similar as they are from all around the world.
Look, in this book, The 0% by Duval Day, he says this too. He says that during the time of the Revolutionary War, right?
Look at that.
And just prior to that, white people were only represented by Anglos, right, and Saxons. Okay, so we had like a very small population compared to the rest of the world, according to this book, right? And it makes sense, right? Because the rest of the world was, olive-skinned or some sort of Mediterranean or whatever, right? So the only actual Anglo people were the Saxons and the Anglos, right? And there's some interesting things Ben Franklin had written about us in a letter referring to, I don't know, I have to get the book. It's in my room, but I don't know. It's pretty interesting. You can find it on founders.org or founders. I think that's what it's called, founders.org. It's like a government website.
What I find interesting though is that there's had these series of world fairs.
Well, he mentions Mars and Venus. That's what's weird.
I'm starting to get to an idea, and we'll do that about that on another show, that those are actually other lands outside of beyond Antarctica. There's an interesting book I started looking at that's pretty cool. I'll want to look at it a little more, and we'll bring it up on there later. Well, what I was saying about like how
Moors what if the Moors had like a massive empire here?
Yeah.
What if there already was a massive empire here, and then
the old maps show that there were right now where St. Louis, Missouri is at, in that area, was a huge Aztec city complex at one time. people don't think of them being that far up into North America. We only think of like Mexico and south of there. But it was a huge, what we're told, a huge, for lack of a better term, empire.
Well,
but the thing is what we find is I don't think that they were the savage
no, that's what
Indians
I'm saying.
that we're told. I think they were quite civilized,
an advanced civilization.
Yeah.
What if so basically what this guy in the 0% puts forth is if the Anglos and the Saxons were relatively new to the scene, like within the world in general, because there's such a small representation of us, right?
Maybe we're the manufactured ones, man.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. That's kind of what is interesting about what Ben Franklin writes in that letter about the Europeans, and the fact that, like, yeah, so the Moors held title at some point and lost their title because they kept intermarrying with the natives who were debtors, debt slaves, and trying to pass their titles down to them. So they got stripped of their title. Something like that. It's fucking tripped out book, man. But you can verify, like, everything I've read in it so far, I've been able to verify it as true. And it's pretty cool. It's totally different history. It's mind blowing, dude. You're just like, no fucking way. No way that's real. And then
like I was saying about these various technologies kind of like being introduced slowly. There seems to have been like, okay, we're going to have the Chicago World's Fair. We had this World's Fair, that World's Fair, the London World's Fair, Paris World's Fair, all these things, big extravaganza things. And what were they doing? They were showing stuff from around the world, various technologies of industry and all this other type of technology, steam engines, incubator babies, for Christ's sake. And I believe a lot of different other energy technologies. Everything we eat was introduced to us at World's Fair, like what we eat for breakfast.
Yeah, you were telling me that. I wouldn't doubt it, because what if we lived in like Dark City? Wasn't that movie called Dark City with the beings? Like, it was a malleable reality.
I don't know.
Do you remember what I'm talking about? He like found out he was in some kind of like fucking malleable reality where these beings ran it and could like change the landscape at will and shit. Tripped out. I think it's like Dark City. Anyway, what if it was like that?
I know there's the Dark City, the Dark Tower, and the Dark Crystal. I get all of them mixed up. Movies and books.
I know, I do too.
I think it's like Dark City or some shit. I don't know. It's a good movie though. But yeah, what if it's like that? Like, just, I don't know. It trips me out to think about sometimes the possibilities.
Is this the place? This is what I guess Renee wants me to show. That she keeps asking.
You know what I mean? It's still amazing the way that it works. You can always just sit back and look at the way things work and just be like, so intricate. Like, even the social design is intricate, but like the natural design to the world, like the shit that this stuff is built off of.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Something else is I see evident. This is Renee. There it is. Yes, it's an old building, just like what we're talking about. They're using it for a high school. It's been repurposed, found dead, and used as this. Founded and used as this later in the 20th century. Crazy shit.
Wonder how much of it is buried, right?
Yeah. Well, the one thing I do notice with a lot of these things is in the architecture, there's a lot of the above, as above, so below. If you think about it, you look at some of those domes I was just showing, right? And the insides. Think about that as a firmament over us. But almost like your visual dome.
Have you seen the Stranger Things show?
Yes.
You know how they have an upside down? Like, that's the whole thing about the upside down, right? Why wouldn't there be? If there's like if this is set up like a battery, right? Like an electromagnet, right? It's
Right.
an electromagnetic battery, essentially, is what it is, right? And it's got the two poles. And so on the opposite end of where what we call the North Pole, or the magnetic center, directly underneath that would have to be a negative pole, right? Of like, maybe that's what like dark matter is and shit.
This is let me show you this real quick. This is where I was stationed at in Germany. And that was that same type of shit. Those ceilings, you can see how big these trucks are, right? Look how tall those windows are. And that's not, the ceiling's like right here in the middle. These things were huge. This place was fucking huge.
Damn.
Here's the front with the columns. I can't get no bigger than that. And there was a bunch more underground there too. I was down in the basement. That's where the armory and shit was at. And it was in the basement. And there was this door. And I got it open. It was a metal door, and there were some steps. And I went down, and then I came to water. And so the steps kept going, and there was water. And I took a flashlight and I shined back in there. You could see the tops of old trucks sticking up out of the water. It was an old underground motor pool that the Germans had in World War II, and they flooded it out when the Americans came in.
Damn.
There was a bunch of old trucks and shit stuck down under there. We weren't supposed to go in there. I got in trouble for opening that door, but oh well, I got to see it.
Fuck, it's an experience now. What's Tranquil Vortex talking about?
What do we got here? Tranquil Vortex says, find what is banned and has been systematically eliminated. Mercury, Antarctica, psilocybin, logic, language, hemp, nature, bells, organs, cathedrals, cymatic gardens, canals, fountains. He's right. Those, and there's a lot to that. Why is there so much they don't want you to
That's
fucking
where,
have?
yeah, if you have the answer to that little riddle, I would be interested.
Well,
What do
who
those
gets to
things have in
decide that?
common?
Ultimately, who decides that?
No,
That's
but what
the
do those
thing.
things have in common? You know what I mean? Like,
I think it has a lot to do with like the whole free energy thing and finding out that there was more, that our history is a lie. You know, I mean, what's going to happen when everybody?
Some kind of rhetoric or sarcasm. I don't
I mean,
think they could eliminate logic, but if they did they didn't eliminate hemp either. Well, unless you mean like natural hemp.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, they found during a study that those people smoking weed weren't as easily hypnotized by the flicker rate of a television as other people were.
it's very easy to see that weed right now would all be fucked with by like laboratory, that engineered, because all the legal states, basically the big money has went and bought up all the dispensary, you know what I mean? You've only got so many different types of dispensaries that are duking it out now, you know what I mean? And all the legal states flood the rest of the states that it's not legal in.
Well, that's why you got to always know what's better, tomatoes from your garden or tomatoes from Kroger.
Well, probably still from your garden, no matter what. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's your answer right there. We got to learn to stop being so fucking reliant on the system. That's exactly where they want people. I mean, there's so many people out there right now. You could give them fucking seeds, give them heirloom seeds, tell them they're heirloom seeds, and they wouldn't know what to fucking do with them.
I'm blessed to have access to homegrown.
Well, that was the whole point.
Hell yeah.
If people don't go along with the CBDC and everything and don't play nice, then that's what they're going to do. They're going to pull the economic rug out from under everybody. And then it's going to be like that situation where people are going to be in big trouble here shortly.
Oh yeah. Listen, I was just at the supermarket and the shelves are looking pathetic, man. They're having to fill in empty areas with stuff that's already in another area, just so that it doesn't look as empty. And it's almost like my local stores almost just went, fuck it. This is just what we got.
What they've done in my local stores, they've shrunk the section. Like if they don't have a bunch of the shit, they just shrunk the section and filled it in with other shit that they do have a bunch of.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely got to get out there and
well, what the fuck are we gonna do? Like you
stop
just said,
being.
Most people wouldn't know what to do with heirloom seeds. Everybody's dependent on grocery stores.
Yep.
Right, and public water supplies. They're entirely dependent on the infrastructure of the system that is getting ready to fuck us.
We've lost that spirit of rugged individualism that I think is important. It should be indomitable in the human spirit, but there again, like you were talking about before,
learned
hopelessness. Absolutely, the dog just sat there and let himself be shocked. Yeah,
it's pretty heinous, right?
Yeah. I mean it is, but it's hey, there's Ironton Auditor.
Hey, what's up, Ironton? Hey, that's when you get into the Joseph Stalin. When one of his advisors asked him what the key to his power was, maintaining his power, and he had one of his aides bring in a chicken, and he snatched the chicken up by its neck, plucked out every single feather, right, which is horribly painful for the chicken, right? And then when he was done, he did it slowly, and when he was done, he set it down, and the chicken nuzzled his leg, right when he set it down, and nuzzled his leg, and it did that because it was so grateful for him stopping the plucking, the torture, and that was his answer. That was the example. Is that basically, if you make somebody suffer enough, then they will be so grateful for your mercy that they fucking worship you. Isn't that some dark shit? But
I've seen that go down with people. They do it with cops. They'll do it with cops.
That's like the darkest black fucking magic mind fuck that you can ever conceive of. Like the whole foundation of the MK Ultra shit.
Did you ever you've seen Game of Thrones, right?
Oh yeah.
Remember what that Ramsey dude did with that dude? He had him just fucked with him for months and months till he broke him down to being reek.
But if you listen to some of the people that talk about the shit these people can do, no, I mean, they could just be talking shit. But sometimes, you know how things just resonate and you're like, there might be something to that. There's this one guy that's talking about how he was like in with these people that run shit over in Hollywood and stuff. And he basically said that they would transplant his consciousness into basically another vessel, and then fucking torture the shit out of him, and then bring his consciousness back to his vessel. And he said they make clones of you so that they can do, like, basically when artists and people sign the contract, the rights, they sign over universal rights to their entire person, their image, everything, right? And then they can make clones of you, right? Huh?
Who was saying this?
It's I'll have to look up his name. It's like Donald something.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'll look it up, and I'll in a little bit or something. I'll let you know in the future. It's gonna bug me now. Well, let me tell the story, and then I'll look it up. So anyways, he says that, like, if you look at Britney Spears, she's got this song called Toxic, and that's like the same thing that she's talking about in the video. And that's why she's so fucked up, because they keep using her, like taking her consciousness on a regular basis and putting it into a clone of her and then doing fucked up shit to her. And when you watch that video is about her like fighting these record producers and then breaking into a factory and destroying a bunch of her own clones. And it's like, what the fuck, man? That is weird. And just like some of the things he says about the way some of the people are and who's there and why this is this way. It's fucking, the shit that's really possible out there. We don't have any fucking idea.
Did you ever see, there's a movie with Ewan McGregor called The Island. And he's like in this kind of a dystopian society where everybody wears kind of the same clothes and they go to this job every day. Like the guy gets up out of his bed. His clothes are
Yes.
already picked out for him, and he goes and
Yes,
takes a
that's right,
leak, and the
Renee.
thing analyzes his urine.
That's his fucking name.
So he goes in and takes a leak first thing in the morning, and a voice comes on and says, "I've detected a high amount of nitrates in your urine this morning." So, whatever his name was, says, "I'll indicate this to the cafeteria." So then he goes down and everybody eats, and he only gets a certain kind of amount of food. They cut his nitrates out or whatever because of what was in his urine. Anyway, what they find out eventually is there's this lottery, right? They play like there's this lottery, and it comes on the TV, and everybody's excited about it because one lucky contestant will be picked to go away to this beautiful island, and it shows this paradise and shit. They don't have to work anymore, and they're just in the sunshine. Well, what it turns out they're really doing, and they never come back. Well, what they find out is that they're actually clones of these rich fucks that live in the real world, and they're just there for spare body parts and shit.
That's tripped out thought. It's probably
because the dude escapes and he fucking goes and he finds his donor, his actual who he's a clone of.
Listen, when they show you shit like that, it's probably a thing. Like,
I wondered, because it was crazy, and they were just like, and their jobs all related to the manufacturing of other clones, but they didn't even realize it. Like they're working on the food line or something like that. They don't know what they're doing. That's just what they do all day. And then once in a while, the lottery comes on and somebody gets to go away. And like somebody, like there was like one who wanted to have a baby, and she couldn't. So her clone could. And and as soon as the baby was born, then they just fucking off the mother,
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, they didn't think of him as any more than just a product. And I'm like you said, if they've got it, I think they can do it. And you go back and look in that Alice Guy film promoting the incubator babies and it looked like a repopulation effort. You got these photographs of people standing on Coney Island. All the dudes are wearing the same fucking hat, wearing the same goddamn clothes. Nobody's dressed for the beach. Nobody's got a towel. And they all have this look on their face like, how the fuck did we just get here? What's going on? Just a puzzled, bewildered look on their faces. And I'm like, what, do they do this like every couple hundred years or something? Or, I mean, it's almost like in that movie. What was that movie where they found out that wall wasn't to protect them? It was to keep them in. They were an experiment. Divergent, I think. They found out that bubble that they were in wasn't to protect them. That was actually to keep them isolated because they were an experiment.
Well,
and I'm wondering, are we an experiment?
Well, it's interesting you bring that movie up. You know what they call people that have minds that work in an abnormal way? They call them divergent.
Mm-hmm.
So they declare a lot of disorders like autism and stuff to be neurodivergent, right? But
Michael Jackson was cloned. He's down in South America somewhere, is what Austin tells us.
Dude, I think The Weeknd somehow got Michael Jackson's voice. Because that dude sounds just like Michael Jackson.
Who does?
The Weeknd.
Oh, I don't know who that is. I'm not up on that stuff you youngsters are watching these days.
He's been around for a while, dude. So yeah, he's like literally The Weeknd is old. No, he's been around for years and years.
Was he one of those Jersey Shore people?
No.
Okay, because I know they had some people on there that some guy named The Situation or something like that. I don't know.
No, he's one of the
Jersey Shore guys are Italians.
He's what, Christos?
He's one of those pretentious hipsters in the industry.
Oh, okay, one of those. All right.
Who? Wait, The Weeknd is? I think he's just primarily a drug addict.
That's how I consider him, at least. But like he's got that pretentious, the way he dresses and carries himself, like he's some, like he's more high class, or he's a better artist than others.
Oh, he does.
I don't know. It's something about his style and the way he carries himself and his whole.
I can see what you're saying, like
or whatever.
like a flashy, flamboyant fucker kind of.
Yeah, but not cool, flamboyant like Prince or Michael Jackson though.
I don't think
more of a self-centered flamboyant.
Oh, he's boring. Like I'm not sure what comes to your guys' mind with hipster, but basically he's boring and he's
when I think hipster, I think like fedora.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like the glasses when he doesn't even have a prescription, but he wears glasses anyway. You know what I mean? That type of got the goatee going on, and he's always hip to the the like the things that are cool but people don't know about yet or aren't. That's the hipster guy.
Yeah, hipster has a bunch of different connotations at this point. It's probably not the best word to describe The Weeknd, but nonetheless,
I totally
the Weeknd is definitely another one of these industry puppets or sellouts, or however you want to consider it.
He's for sure a sellout. Hell yeah, he is. He does some like straight up dark videos. If you actually watch his music videos, they're fucking dark.
Who was that guy that those people died? Oh yeah. Travis Scott. You remember that when this Travis Scott and those people died at his concert and shit, and they just kept like playing. And he was like, "Well, they're carrying dead people out." He's going, "Dead."
Dude, his whole stage, like the entrance to the concert, was set up like a painting of Molochs. Like hell, essentially.
And I'm sorry, just kind of like a coincidence on the play on the words, Travis Scott, Tavistock. Just saying.
That's a good one. I've never thought about that one. I've heard that one.
I seen an interesting thing.
Found dead and found dead. Yeah, good ones.
Did you guys ever watch The Sons of Anarchy?
No.
No?
I know about it, but I never watched it.
Okay, well, it was, whose ex was it? Damn, it was a kid from Sons of Anarchy, and it was, who the fuck's ex was it? Why can't I think of it? It was one of those Hollywood witches. I'm trying to think, and I can't remember. He played Half Stack on Sons of Anarchy, though, and his girlfriend, maybe somebody in the audience knows, but anyways, he went fucking crazy. Who was his girlfriend? It was like somebody that was, Katy Perry. There it is, Katy Perry's ex. Okay, that's why, because she's full on MK Ultra, and her, she dated this guy, the guy from Sons of Anarchy, for a minute, and then they broke up, and after they broke up, he got into a motorcycle accident. He got a head injury.
Are you talking about one of them Kardashians, one of them Armenian witches?
No, I'm talking about Katy Perry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's one too.
Okay. So Katy Perry's ex, right? After they break up, he gets into a motorcycle accident. He doesn't scan for a concussion or nothing. He doesn't seem like he has a concussion, but they're saying he could have possibly had a head injury because afterwards he goes home, starts beating up the neighbor, right? This guy was on a famous, like a popular TV show. Like he's a celebrity, and he dated Katy Perry. That's how big of a celebrity he was at the time. And he lost his shit after that motorcycle accident, coincidentally after they broke up. And he ended up murdering this lady at this writer's villa he was at. He murdered this lady there. And then he lost his ever-loving fucking mind, dude. Altogether, he beat up like 5 people and murdered this old lady.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. And like, why? And there was no explanation for it. There was no explanation for it. None. Like that he came from a good family.
Well, I'm being attacked here.
And I don't wonder if he wasn't like fucking programmed or something, right?
There's a bunch of, remember when Shia LaBeouf went all fucking bonkers and was yelling at a fucking webcam for like days on end? And then every one of those Disney kids fucking loses their shit. Every one of them.
Amanda Bynes,
yeah.
Brittany. I don't think Justin Timberlake has.
Well, I wonder, there's a certain, I think it goes along with the percentages, he hasn't lost his shit yet. All right. there's that certain percentage that become completely indoctrinable, and they become the programmers as well. So he could very well be that. But there's that Disney connection, the Disney connection to NASA, to JPL, to Jack Parsons, to Aleister Crowley. I mean, it's all right there, and it always ends up with who? Kids. This is where they go, the most innocent. What did Crowley say? Okay, so this is what we're dealing with, and they're all entangled within the entertainment, pushing it through the black mirror, through the black screen at us.
You have to look like this is that otherworldly shit that I'm talking about. That, like, so like you said, Jack Parsons started JPL, right? Which is a military contractor, right?
Jet Propulsion's Laboratory.
Right, Jet Propulsion's Laboratory. And he was best friends with Aleister Crowley, and he was the head of the Ordo Templi Orientis in California. And he would have like sex magic orgies at this military complex on a regular basis. And this guy supposedly developed rockets and did some extraordinary shit, right? So that I find interesting, that the people behind this, like Werner von Braun, was a Nazi scientist, and the Nazis were heavily steeped in occult knowledge. You know, so like what has this wealthy, old, powerful cabal really been doing, you know, over the centuries? What have they been trying to accomplish, right?
Perhaps. Let me just welcome a couple people that have come in since we got Debo's Nation. I saw came in. There was somebody else I just saw too that I forgot to say. Oh Lord, Roseanne Massman, she made it. People are not getting notifications. It's probably because this is my backup channel. I've got less than 100 subscribers on here, so the reach doesn't get out quite as big as the other one. I think I get to go back on Friday. See, what's the date today? Is the 17th. It's been 12 days. I got 2 more days. So Thursday night, Friday morning, whatever. That's when I get my penal period is over. So that's all right. We'll get there. And that's all I wanted. We got everybody out there. What do we got 20 people in here. That's all right. That's all we need. Shit. We're in good shape. But no, I do. I think that this is a continuous thing. I'm trying to remember who it was that when he came from Egypt and went to Greece. Am I thinking Pythagoras?
Yeah.
They went to, and he said they were talking about, you know, a recent like reset or flood or some shit like that. And he came in and he said, "Oh, Atlantis." He said, "This has happened a few times, man. This ain't the first time. That wasn't the first time. It happened a bunch of times before that too." And I think it's like that Ouroboros, that repeating cycle, that perhaps just like how the eclipses all recycle themselves every 18 years, the same pattern of them, that perhaps some kind of maybe a plasma event with the sun or the birth of a new sun takes place. And, you know, who the fuck knows what could happen with something like that? That would be a total disruption in all of our reality. But there does seem to be evidence of some kind of a plasma events, whether it be natural or man-made. I mean, we got castles and shit that are half melted, you know, and shit like that just don't make any kind of fucking sense given the time period from which they're from. You're not, you know, these are people walking around in sandals and shit, and you can't be melting buildings. What the fuck are you talking about? Right. So that's why I say I wonder if this is shit that they've done over and over and over or something, or are we actually in that short season after a millennial reign? It's hard to tell without a known history.
What I do know is that, like, so prolific occult writers like Manly P. Hall, Helena Blavatsky, who else? Aleister Crowley. These people all have written about Atlantis as if it's pretty commonly known among like these elite occultists that that was a place. You know what I mean? So I often wonder if that wasn't a reset in itself, and if there wasn't like, and who knows if these resets are actually dimensional, even, right?
Yeah. Like a shift,
Because
kind of like the Mandela effect, only a little more drastic, where it actually changes land mass and things like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah, we explain Roanoke and the people disappearing.
Yeah, I'm still perplexed by it. The only thing they found there was the word Croton. And what is the fuck? Nobody knows what that even means. It was nobody's name or anything. It just somebody carved that in a tree, and it was the only thing found as a when they went looking for those people at Roanoke. Who was those settlers? They were from England, weren't they? Weren't they from England?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It was pre Jamestown. Pre Jamestown.
That story, I'm pretty sure they were English, but
no, I did see a few years back, probably 25 years ago, I saw a National Geographic issue. And of course, we know, can we really trust them? But they had excavated around and did some looking around where the site of the Roanoke settlement was at. And they did find a few bodies in graves. And one of them appeared to have a musket ball embedded in its knee. So, like they even came up with the idea of a theory that perhaps they got a bout of ergot from rye and just kind of flipped shit, and ran off with the natives and maybe even fought with each other. But who knows? They just fucking disappeared without a trace, man.
They did. I was thinking maybe some slavers came, because that's apparently was a very common thing all over the world up until, well, around the end of the 1800s, the end of the 19th century.
An interesting thing they said, there's accounts of a tribe of natives that were about 6 feet tall, pale skinned, and bald headed men here in the Americas.
From what I'm reading, the fucking natives were actually, a lot of them were actually black people. They're Moors. There were Moors that like interbred.
Oh, I think there were all kinds of people here. Just like there are now. I think that this empire expanded worldwide. There was worldwide travel. In fact, I dare to say that there was frequent air travel by use of what we would call airship, lighter than air transport. There was free energy. I think that there was quite a civilization, and it seemed to have connection with one another, because we see evidence, like for instance, we see evidence of the coca plant being depicted in carvings in Egypt. And the coca plant only grows in the Americas, and primarily South America. So this shows that the Egyptians and South America were in contact with one another for it. So there was a worldwide network, I believe. And this, of course, would people go, hey, I want to go live here, or I want to go live there. Kind of like what the America was supposed to embellish, or embody.
So imagine what if, and I know this is tripped out and probably not the case, but what if World War II, so like authors like Alice Bailey writes, and I believe it was Externalization of the Hierarchy, or one of them books. She said that World War II was the great sound experiment that basically
World War One.
Yeah, it might have been World War One. Yeah. That rent the veil, right? So,
listen, there was the most prolific description of any World War I survivor And I've actually talked to them. Of course, they're all dead now. But when I was young, I was able to meet some World War I veterans and shit. They said one of the biggest problems they had everywhere was fucking mud. And if you think about liquefaction as a result of continuous vibration of shelling in artillery, now you're starting to get into something. And it seems like it was a deliberate destruction of old world Europe. An entire thing. It wreaked horrific death. Never had they seen the types of casualties in a war like were wrought about in World War One. I talked to a guy one time that was in World War One, and he had told me about that they'd been, hardly stuck in these trenches, cutting between this trench and that trench all the time. Under constant bombardment. He said they'd go out and there was a shell crater, and they'd go out there and dip their hats, their helmet in it, and get water to shave, to drink, cook with. Springtime came, temperature got a little warmer. That shell crater started to dry up, and there'd been a dead Frenchman down in the bottom of that fucking crater that whole time, and all the men have been drinking that water. I mean, just think about that kind of fucking scarring on you, and that's just one of 1,000 horrors you would run across every fucking day. You're in a battle and you're taking cover over in a cemetery, and there's the fucking artillery's blowing, deceased corpses in their coffins up out of the fucking ground. Because they're trying to destroy your position. I mean, it's just, and all the history that's being eliminated right there too.
That's horrific, man.
Yeah. People don't really put into what that kind of thing really was. The first time machine guns had been used, gas weapons. I met another man in a nursing home one time. He was a World War I veteran, and his voice was shot. You could only talk about like this because he got a little whiff of mustard gas in World War I. Barely got out of the trench in time. Damaged him for his entire fucking life. Yeah, man.
It's pretty awful, man. Well, what's going on, guy? Austin? I gotta get off here. I gotta go to bed. My daughter gets up early, so
right on.
Just wanted to stay on here, hang out for a minute. Thanks for coming on my show earlier.
Yeah, man.
You guys have an awesome night. That's a pretty tripped out discussion. It was pretty cool. I like that. It was fun.
Yeah, man. That's what we like to do.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, man. Good night. What's happening, Austin Murphy?
Hanging out, man.
What kind of a microphone? Everybody's leaving. Where are they going?
Ryan left. Christos.
Oh, yeah, right. Christos,
what's up,
what
Christos?
kind of a microphone are you using, brother?
Hey, what's good? Am I coming through? Am I not coming through well?
No, it's fuzzy. It sounds
what about
like
now?
static.
I should be fine now.
Yeah, that's beautiful right there.
Okay,
that's
good.
Perfect. That's perfect. Shit.
So that was your son that just left?
Yes, that's my.
Okay, cool.
My eldest son. He lives in Michigan. And
is this your youngest son here?
No, this guy, Austin. No. I saw you over there. I saw you over there hanging out in that miscreant lounge over there. I was cracking up. I was like, I was flipping through. I saw Paul, and then one time I was over there, I saw Christos, and then another time I go over there, I look, and there's Austin. I'm like, oh boy, everybody's over at Paul's. What's going on here now? So I don't know. I just wish they'd stop with that crap and get back on point. You know what I'm saying? With that,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Talking about Paul enslaved.
Yeah, it disheartens me. I don't like to see people fight. I don't like to see people argue if they don't have to. Especially if you're kind of trying to be on the same page. Nobody's going to be Nobody's going to be 100% the same. And that's the thing you first got to understand. We're each an expression of the infinite possibility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right.
it sort of is cult like over there.
Yeah. I did watch Lauren De Laguna's video with Jack, and I thought it was kind of funny because she was really trying hard to get him to say it was a cult, and he wouldn't do it. And you could see she was trying every different way to ask him so he'd answer it that way, and he wouldn't do it. So I thought it was funny as shit. So what's been on your mind, Christos?
Man, nothing right now. I'm getting hella tired. But as of lately, other than currently in the short term, I've been thinking about these DMT trips I had and digesting the experiences I had and trying to really recollect it all before I go in again. Because I don't want to overwrite or forget any of the things I experienced already by going back in.
I was tempted myself. And I was kind of like I'm on the kind of the same page. I was like, okay, we need to just take a break, digest, see what's going on, and then later in the week. Yeah, man. Wow, what is that?
My bad. I'm picking up these DoorDashes. I'm delivering some food right now.
Oh, cool. I got another guy that watches. He does DoorDash too.
I want to try DMT one of these days.
It's awesome. It's definitely awesome. Not gonna lie to you. Really, I've often thought that as even like with mushrooms, I'm thought, probably one of the best things you could do for the world is if everybody fucking dosed some mushrooms, and maybe they fucking get it. Maybe
I
they
think that
fucking
about
get it.
LSD. Yeah, I think that about LSD. If people, I mean, LSD is mushrooms are here, and LSD is like way up there. So I think if most people try LSD, they would have a different view on life. A lot of people on their deathbed, I've seen videos like people on their deathbed like do LSD for like a spiritual awakening or different things.
Did you see Steve Jobs when he died? You know what his last words were? Oh wow. It was oh wow.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and then he drifted out. Boom, gone. I was like, yeah, he gets it. That's why I see. I don't fear it. I'm not inviting it because I'm actually enjoying the experience. I'm here for a reason. If not for any other reason, but to witness this crazy fucking shit that's occurring. Because I never in my wildest dreams would I think that the things that are being presented to me would ever be presented. I mean, not only are the illusions of like, oh, that guy's the president of the United States and this whole fucking thing that you're indoctrinated into. It's just like, okay, even if you're going to play like that's for real, can't you do a better job than that, man? I mean, you guys are you going out of your way to make it funny? Are you really going out of your way to make this shit funny?
I think they are.
I have to wonder, man, as I think
It seems
about
like
the
it,
fucking
yeah.
jesters. Because there's no way in hell you could tell me. I mean, did you guys see the MLK
yeah. The BBC
monument that they unveiled? Oh my god, it looked like somebody holding a big fucking dookie, man. I was like,
wait, what they review?
It's a MLK statue. It's supposed to be like artistic, but really
here, I'll show you.
it looks like yeah, you have to see it to understand. It's like two hands holding a giant black dick.
Oh no. They would do that shit. I know that the same day that MLK Day was, they also made it National Nothing Day. There was like all these other little stupid things they make up to add on to that day, and it just so happened to be these other things as well. That was like, it's kind of weird that it would be National Nothing Day on this day as well.
So this
Can you
is the
see that,
statue.
Christos?
And then people when they
Oh wow.
Yeah, when they unveiled it, people were all clapping and stuff and cheering. It's like, what the hell?
What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
MLK.
Yeah, that's terrible, isn't it? Isn't it? It's like, what do we got going on here?
What was it? $10 million statue?
Something ungodly
Yeah,
like that.
$10 million.
It's I don't know. It's really here's another one of it. Another, I don't even know it. Here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but okay, so Jeebus Crisps asked, so what is the artistic vision behind this? All right, so supposedly this is taken from a photograph of MLK and his wife,
Yeah.
Loretta, and he's hugging her after he found out that he got the Nobel Peace Prize. But it only is showing the arms and there's no head. And at one point, it looks like somebody putting their own head up their ass. If you look at it from that standpoint right there, don't it look like somebody putting their head in their own butt? I mean, if you don't look at the hands, I mean, I don't know. This is what they do. This is their little fucking arena. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
It's strange.
I have no idea why they want to have that. You know, and this obnoxious. This
how do you explain it?
Thing.
How do you explain it?
Ass.
Exactly.
Like a movie. It's like a movie, a bad movie.
I don't.
I yeah, for sure. I meant like, there's no way to justify that like type of sculpture, basically.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to see if they got something where they show us what it's derived from. But yeah, people hate it. Oh, okay, it's from this picture. All right, this is where this is from, supposedly. Hang on, let me view image. And there. So I guess those are her hands that you're seeing. And that's supposed to be his arm that she, or something. I don't fucking know. It's really a stupid sculpture. People fucking hate it. I don't blame them. Even though, listen, in reality, this guy was, he was a bad dude, man. MLK, really, him and Jesse Jackson smoking rocks and fucking banging whores, you know. He was not the person you think he was. But nevertheless, maybe he got some shit done that needed to be done. I think a lot more could have been done. I still think a lot more could be done. And one of the biggest things that could be done is to stop the division aspect of it, you know. How do you quit racism? We'll quit focusing on it. That's all you got. The only place I ever see that dumb shit's on TV or in the news. I don't really see it in real life. You know?
Yeah, it's like, it seems like we always have holidays for the worst kind of people.
Well, yeah, Columbus. There was a guy, you know, his guys used to sharpen their swords and test out how sharp they were on natives, you know, just to see how good they worked. Because after all, it didn't matter. They didn't believe in Jesus, so they were just heathens anyhow. I mean, think about that. Now that's assuming that history is real.
Yeah,
I don't even know
exactly.
that whole fucking bullshit, any of that's real. You know, who's giving it to me? Known liars, right? People have lied to me about where I live. People have lied to me about who I am. People that have lied to me on every level, you know. They made me sit in a fucking linear grid work classroom and filled me full of all kinds of stupid shit and then left me out here to goddamn unravel it all and get rid of it, you know?
Yeah.
At least I was lucky enough to see it and get rid of it, you know, and learn to start, you know, you got to think for yourself. You can't, these ideas that are given to you by somebody else. Everybody else just wants to tiptoe around and go, oh yeah, MLK, you know, black rights, and you have to say nice things. And it's like, no, this motherfucker was a rock smoking, hooker banging fucking freakazoid, man. This is documented. We know this.
That
Completely
that's
co-opted.
like George Floyd too.
Yeah,
George
yeah. You're
Floyd
not allowed to say nothing about old GF.
Drug addict with a criminal record, and they want to make him be out to like seem like Jesus or something.
Right. And it's like, look, I can get it from this, man. Like a man who's made mistakes in his life and has learned from those mistakes and has changed how he's doing things and the way he's viewing the human condition. I can respect that more than I can a poser that's going to play like he's been some kind of a saint all his fucking life.
Yeah.
Somebody who ever learned anything. So if you really want to look at somebody, look at Malcolm X. There's a reason they killed that motherfucker, for real. There's a big reason, because he realized he said what I'm saying right now. He said what I'm saying right now. Keep it fucking real, man. Yeah, there's differences between blacks and whites. So what? Don't mean we got to hate each other over that shit. Quit trying to play one against the other. That's the fucking ticket right there. We let them do that to us all day long.
Yep. Well said. Yeah, I forget that Martin Luther King was doing all those crazy things.
I honestly didn't even know about that until you just said that, Sovereign, that he was smoking crack.
Well, there was no, they didn't have crack per se at the time. You had to rock cocaine up yourself. You know, it's real easy to do. You can use distilled water, just break it away from its compounds into a clump and then smoke it, man. Richard Pryor burned off all of his hair doing that shit back in the 70s. And that was before the CIA manufactured crack cocaine hit the streets. That was a little while later. But yeah, I mean, the point is, and I ain't got no, I'm going to give anybody some shit because they do something like that. But it's like, don't pretend you're one thing and then actually be another. You know, that's fucking bullshit. You look at Malcolm X. Yeah, he fucked up. He realized what had caused him to fucked up, what in his environment. He did his time in prison. He came out and he tried to awaken other people about that same condition and how it comes about. I don't necessarily agree with all the methods he went through to do it, but hey, you got a voice, you got a way to say something, you got to say it. You know what I mean? At least he wasn't being violent on nobody.
Yeah, he broke away from the Nation of Islam. They didn't like how he was going. He was breaking the programming.
He saw that it was a co-opted outfit just like the others.
Right.
You see? So that's free based. No, yeah, that's what we called it. Free based. Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. And you got to look at it because that's why you'll see some new thing come out, you know, and it's like, wow, that guy, he's really outspoken and shit, you know, and I really like what he's got to say. And then the next thing you know, it's like, wait a second, this is a co-opted outfit here. First thing I look at, man, I'm like, okay, what's the production value here? You know, for this nobody that just came out of nowhere, boom, he hits the thing, and all of a sudden he's got all this fucking production value, and he's able to put all this shit together and splice and edit and everything, and he's putting out. I'm like, no, there's something going on there. There's something going on there. Yeah.
Also, who's promoting it too?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's always weird. It seems like these random characters just keep popping up, like Andrew Tate. He just kind of came out of nowhere.
Where did he come from exactly, and why?
He blown up. Just the most famous person ever.
There again, like Ryan was saying, like how that algorithm can feel out there, like he was saying about that story. I don't know if you were here yet, Austin, when he was talking about that story of there's that female cop that she was banging everybody in the police department and all that shit, right? I doubt that even fucking happened. That's actually an AI generated story pushed out onto the fucking social web by the AI to feel out how people react to learn us.
I mean, I can
because
see
that story just went. I mean, think about how that went fucking viral everywhere. And in reality, there's shit like that going on all over the place. Why was this all of a sudden boom, 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 boom? The next day, everybody gets up. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about that?
Yeah. What would the purpose of that be? Just like
to feel us out, see how we react, to gauge our response, each and every one of us. It's an AI. It knows when you are sleeping. It knows when you're awake. It knows what you've been looking at. It knows everything about you, man.
yeah.
I mean, that's how it works. You're going to respond to it, even up to and including the length of time, even if you don't respond to it. That thing's picking up through an algorithm the length of time that you paid attention to it before you scrolled past it.
Yeah, and it's watching you with the camera on your phone.
Yeah. It's looking at your eye dilation, everything, to see how you're reacting to the different things that are coming through. Listen, this is really these little things are fucking you have no idea. You have no idea.
I heard somebody say on Paul's channel the other day that it's like the alpha and the omega, whatever that means.
Well,
it's like
alpha and omega is usually what God is referred to as the beginning and the end.
The beginning and the end,
but the end is where in the Ouroboros, where is the end and where is the beginning? There isn't one. The end is the beginning. It's like a loop, an endless loop. The figure eight, the snake eating its own tail.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around that.
It's constant. Everything is in a constant state of flux. Everything is in a constant state of flux at all times. From to destruction to rebirth. From destruction comes rebirth. If you think about it like this, if I destroy some wheat and I destroy some eggs and I put them in a bowl and mix them together, I can create a cake. You get it? From the destruction of those ingredients, I was able to create a new thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So this is what happens is it's constant rebirth and destruction. Constant rebirth and destruction. The phoenix that rises from the ashes.
Like we as people, we as individuals are
everything. Everything. That's a hermetic principle, that everything is in a state of flux. What was you going to say, Christos?
Oh, I just said day in and day out. Yeah. Cells are being created and dying, and and input output.
Yeah, and it's so much so with your cells that every 7 years, your entire physical being is a different being. You've replaced every fucking cell in your body within that period of time.
Yeah, so it would be waves and particles, right?
Yeah.
That's what energy is, and what we are is waves and particles, like bouncing back and forth between each other, I think.
Just various frequencies of energy coalescing within one another.
Why? Sorry. Why do you say every 7 years?
Because the rate of cellular regeneration in the human body, it's been calculated out that it's approximately every 7 years you've regenerated every cell in your body.
I'm just wondering because 7 seems to be a godly number.
It is.
Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't even realize that when he was saying 7. I didn't make that connection exactly. The number 7, yeah.
Yes, seven's a.
I'm born on the 7th day of October.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I got a 7.
My friend told me. He studies the Bible really hard, and he told me that the Bible, the number 7, is basically like the key to the Bible. Like, for some reason, everything goes back to the number 7 in the Bible.
7 chakra points. Give me just 1 second. I got to take care of something here real quick. You guys hold the show for just a minute for me, if you would. I'll be right.
Yeah, so 7 looks like it looks like a Hebrew letter. I can't remember which one, but the number 7 looks like a letter in Hebrew, I think, as well.
Bro, you know what's crazy? Do you know about the monster symbol?
What symbol?
Monster, like how monster has like the Hebrew
Oh,
symbol.
okay, the 3 claw marks, right?
Yeah, I got that shit tattooed on my back. I have my last name. Wait, let's see. Damn, that's fucking crazy. Okay, so my last name is Murphy, which is 7 letters. But when I was like 18, I wanted to get a tattoo, whatever. So I got my last name on my back, but the M is a monster symbol, so it's 666. And then my actual legal name is Daniel Austin Murphy, which is 6 letters and all 3, 666, and my initials spelled damn.
Oh wow.
So my initials spelled damn, 666. And I have 666 on my back accidentally without even knowing.
That's a fucking trip.
And I'm born on the 7th day of October. It's a mind,
Wow,
bro.
that's good. Wow, that's a good one. That's crazy. Yeah, the 3 claw marks is no joke. That's definitely I remember seeing that a long time ago, and people were making fun of this lady talking about it. But there's definitely symbolism there with the 3 claw marks and looking like
I don't know.
6.
It's weird because so I was like 18, right? And I just wanted to get a tattoo. I didn't know what I wanted to get. And on my way to the tattoo place, it just came into my head, okay, I'll get my last name, but I'll put the monster M as the first letter. And I don't know why, like, it was just random. And then like years later, I see something about that being Hebrew 666 and the beast, mark of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
And then I break down my name, and I have 6 letters in all 3 of my names, and my initials are damn. And I'm like, dude, am I fucking cursed or what?
I don't know.
The Red
you'll
Bull,
make of it.
the Red Bull, the Red Heifer.
Red
They're waiting for the red heifer to sacrifice for the rebuilding of the 3rd temple in Jerusalem. There's symbology there, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, Red Bull.
Yeah, I wanna get rid of that tattoo.
Understandable. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I might make that into a different M or something, maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
But there's people do that, and I can't believe it. They'll go out of their way to advertise the logo of some product, and they don't even get paid to do it. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I got a shirt that says Nike on it. And it's like, Nike ought to be paying your fucking ass to be wearing that on there. That's the way that should actually be working. And then it reminds me of that movie. You remember in Idiocracy? Remember that? Everybody had like some kind of a brand name in their fucking name because they got royalties for it. Like even even the president's name was Dwayne Alessandro Mountain Dew Camacho. And he was like, and that one guy says, brought to you by Carl's Jr. And he says, why do you keep saying that? He says, because they keep paying me every time I say it, stupid. I thought you were the smartest guy in the world. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, wait a second. And all their clothes, did you notice they had all their clothes had shit that was advertising like for Brondo and shit like that? Listen, we're not too far from that, if not already there. I mean,
It's crazy.
Yeah. I used to mess around with a girl that had ended up getting a Taco Bell tattoo on her ankle.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was goofy. Yeah, I don't hang out with her anymore.
It'd be like getting Kmart on your ass, Why would you? Oh, look. It's merged with Sears. Isn't that nice? Oh my God. Yeah, forgive me, I had to get a piece of this cake that's been hollering at me in the back in the kitchen in there. It's this called a socket to me cake. The fucking shit's awesome, man. Anyway, I'm better now. Let's see. There was a Monster advertisement that literally made a gateway over the door. They put it back bar, not two options to go with the gateway or the other way. It was cute. Oh, no shit. Why would you tattoo claw marks on your body? I guess that's
cool.
There you go, because it looks cool. Let's see. Sovereign Soul, you're gonna have Monster and Red Bull coming after you for misleading information. Yeah, well, fuck them. I don't care. Kmart tramp stamp. Yes, that would be fucked up. You know what? All right. Check out how bad would this be, especially with everybody waking up. A NASA tramp stamp, and you know there's somebody out there that has one.
I got fucking space on my arm. I got a whole sleeve of fucking fake space. I don't even believe in space, and I got a whole freaking sleeve of it.
Was that the ISS I saw?
It's just I got here. Hold on. So it starts from the ground. Addy, go. Starts from the ground, like the desert, and then it goes up to a moon, stars, asteroids going around a red giant, planet, satellite.
Oh, okay.
It's like a whole freaking space sleeve. That's what my tattoos trip me out. Like I got monster and I got space. I don't know, man.
Wow, the Matrix implanted itself on you and you didn't even realize it, I guess.
Bro. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know why I got these tattoos.
Wow, interesting.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
It's like an unconscious thing.
Yep.
Why do you reckon it's so hard to break people away from that idea of outer space and planets? And I mean, do you think it's because it's been, we've had so many fucking movies and TV shows and that it's just kind of taken for granted that that's how everything is? It has to be, otherwise there wouldn't be all these movies and shit about it, right? Or
yeah,
they get you at a young age when you're vulnerable, and that. Yep.
Put a little thing right over your crib with little planets on it going around and shit.
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I had a thing that went the perimeter of my room as a kid, near the ceiling, and it was basically showing mankind evolving from monkeys, and then it was showing space at the end. Looking back at it, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, they really do. Get it young.
I have a rare picture. I have to find this here. Oh man, where is it? Yeah, I mean, I think that there was people cruising around using, lighter than air vehicles. I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of these old photographs and shit, they bleach out the sky. They put in what they call a vanilla sky. It's like they don't want you to see something.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they were doing that with the sky and photos.
Yeah, and the old photographs, like from the late 1800s, early 1900s, it's like the sky is all like bleached out. Let me see. I'm trying to find the monkey fish. I have proof of evolution. Oh, there it is, right there. Let me pull that up for you. You're gonna like that. This is right here. Proof. Whoa, that's not the one. God damn it. Why does shit do that to me? Hang on. God damn it. Damn it, Wolby. I do a good hand kill. Well, I lost it. Goddamn thing.
God damn it, Bobby.
Oh, damn it, Wolby.
Nice.
Propane and propane accessories.
I love that. I just started watching those like right from season 1 again on I think it's on Hulu. Oh well,
Yeah.
fuck it. I can't find it. I had it pulled up and now I can't find it because Microsoft is a bunch of fucking dicks. I hate Microsoft so
The
bad.
bleached. You're looking for the bleached skies.
Bleach skies.
I'm looking to see if I got any of the pictures of that. Let's see, maybe in my let's see, I'll go to do I have them over here? Oh, they're on the other fucking computer, damn it. The ones from the World's Fair are good ones like that. I don't know. Do you watch Martin Liedtke, don't you, Christos?
I found him like a month ago or two.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's got get a tramp stamp with a moon and Uranus. She says, "Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible. You can't be doing it." Trying to think. Let's see, maybe I can find it on this. Enough of the Martin Luther King thing. That's just disgusting to me. I mean, it's I don't care whether he's a good guy or a bad guy or whatever. It's just like somebody, had to go, hey, that's wonderful. Let's go through all the manpower and everything to put this fucking piece of shit out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That somebody went through that whole fucking process, or more than one person.
So let's see. These are the pictures from the. Now, see, that one's a painting. Let me see. Let me pull that up. Okay, like for instance. See how there's like no detail to the sky. There's no clouds, nothing. This one ain't so bad. But there's other ones that are even worse. That it's like a purposeful bleaching out of the sky, like this right here. Hold on. Well, there.
Oh wow.
Now these are from the 1893 World's Fair. And this is what you got to consider about these World's Fairs. They built all this for a thing that only lasted 6 months and then tore it all down. This is just a small portion of the whole thing. I said, look at this nighttime.
Is the World's Fair like a form of cover for getting rid of the quote unquote old world?
I think so.
Wow.
I think so. I mean, look at that. Does that screams Rome, doesn't it? That's Chicago.
Yeah. What?
That's Chicago. 1893, Chicago World's Fair.
1893.
Yeah. And look at that. It's lit up. Look how that's lit up. 1893. Look how lit up that is. That building back there in the background, right there. Let me pull that image up. Look at that. This is just incredible. Just incredible. Look at this. Fountains, landscaping, canals, all of this shit put in here for a 6-month event. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And they did this. This isn't the only one. They did this in St. Louis. They did this in New York. They did this in London. They did it in Paris. In fact, the Eiffel Tower was put up for the World's Fair. Or so we're told.
It is interesting how they always have a dome top on top of these buildings. It's always a dome.
When you turn a speaker upside down, it becomes a dome, doesn't it? I'm telling you, those are to magnify. And inside those domes are these little cavity magnetrons. They look like little flowers. They're there to help to amplify that what's being harnessed out of the ether.
Wow. Hey, I'm gonna be listening as I'm falling asleep here soon, so
I'm gonna shut her down myself here. Yeah, I'm gonna shut her down here myself in just a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to hop. I want to do a stream with you, or you can come on with my stream soon. And I want to specifically talk about the DMT experience.
Absolutely.
And I'll probably do it like earlier in the day or something when I'm more in the zone to like go deep on these things.
I hear you. Yeah, that'd be great. Anytime, man. Anytime.
Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. I think I don't think I ever saw your last text. You were remodeling the bathroom, right?
Yeah. Oh
I need to look at that. Did you finish up, or are you still working on it?
No, I'm still working on it. I just got the floor up today. Got the I took out the got the tub and the sink and the toilet all took out the other day. And then I worked on getting the tile, those little tiny tiles. They're those little tiny half-inch square tiles.
Yeah.
And there's like a million of them everywhere. Is there? They originally, when you put those down, they're on a fabric, like a mat, and then you grout them, right? Because they don't lay each individual tile. That would take you forever. But that thing was probably laid in the 60s. So that's gone. All it remains is the tile and the grout, and they're coming up one at a time. Like the whole, you run your flat bar under them, and about 50 of them come up off the floor, and then you got to pick them all up, put them in a bucket. It's been a pain in the ass, but that part's done. So tomorrow I can start taking the walls off, because I'm going to put up all new walls. I'm going to do all the tile and shit myself. So the only thing I need the plumber for is to connect up my shower head and the drain, because I got the pan out, the new shower pan out on the carport. Leanne picked it up on her way home from work today. So coming right along.
Sounds nice.
And most of them I'm having to do. The rest of this I'm mostly having to do myself, because I can't find anybody to help nothing around here.
Damn.
So, yeah, Art's right. He says DMT comes to you. Yes, it does. Absolutely. I found that out myself. Yep. Well, I'm going to cut her down here. Interesting topic tonight. I mean, don't you think this is, where do we go with this? I mean, has Revelations already taken place and we're in that short season? Is it just a constant destruction and rebirth controlled by some outside influence? Let me know what you think down in the comments, and in or even out in the chat right now. Christos, you got any last thoughts on that?
We need to investigate this further, because I've only started hearing about this in the past couple months with the World's Fairs and all these weird anomalies and old world and ancient history. There's a lot more I think that needs to be dug into here for sure. Also, Austin, appreciate you. Thank you for your service, man.
No problem, man. Have a good night, buddy.
Yeah, you too, guys. Peace.
Peace out, Christos. Austin, man. Any last words tonight?
I'm gonna go see what's going on in the land of YouTube.
The YouTube. Oh my god. Yeah.
What's going on YouTube? You YouTubies.
It's gotten to where it's just his face just I can't even stand. It comes up across my fucking feed, and I'm like, oh god, get him away from me. I just can't. I can't listen. I can't listen to one more fucking word of his voice. Anyway, it's just, he's too much. He's just too much, man.
All right, man. Have a good night. I'm out of here.
All right, Austin. I'll talk to you later, brother. Well, I want to thank everybody else for coming in, tuning in, seeing how everything's going. Like I said, we got today's the 17th. We got the strike on the 5th. It was 2 weeks. That's 14. 14 and 5 is 19. So it's today. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday night at about 11:30 or so. I should be off my restrictions. We'll have to behave ourselves. But anyway, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, like, share, or don't. Whatever you want to do. It's your gig. We'll see y'all on the other side. Y'all peace out. Take care.